We're back, part two of Lisa C's interview with Amanda DeCensi and introducing Lisa
Hi,
C. Hi, Lisa.
hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Last time we kind of finished, and we were just approaching about your borderline personality disorder diagnosis at age 32. What proceeded to lead up to that diagnosis?
So I was diagnosed at 25 with severe depression and severe anxiety. I was put off work for a while,
Hmm.
but my stubbornness went back to work until I went into full burnout crash. Um,
What were you doing at the time? What were you working in? Because your people don't know you. You're one of a master of many, many things. So at the time, what were you doing? Were you?
so when I was diagnosed with severe depression and severe anxiety, I was working as we had a lot of contracts at the phone company that we received calls, but the main one was roadside assistance.
Okay.
Um, but we did also like take messages after hours for um, funeral homes.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that's interesting.
yeah, but the thing is, when people call in the funeral home for a pickup of a body, um, to them, they don't know they're calling the message people that
Oh,
they're not trained in this at all, and that their life is in this. So I've had a few very funny now stories.
now I
Elaborate. Come on.
Okay, so I was expected to call. I was working the night shift, late evening shift, and so the funeral home was closed, and so someone has a pager or cell phone for emergencies, pickup, and things like that. But we get the messages, and then depending on the message, we either send an email if it can wait
okay.
till opening, or we call them on the phone. So I had a police officer call me,
Oh God.
and depending on what comes up on the phone, we have certain specific things we have to say, so as to they don't know we're the message. Like it pretty much sounds like we're part of the funeral home.
Okay.
So he basically says, I have a pickup. I'm like, okay. Um, I don't know what to ask. So I'm like, okay, I'll call my person. What information do you have? Where's the pickup? Phone number to call you back, your name. And he's like, oh, tell them to double the bags. And I went, huh? And
I
he's
know what
like,
he's
yeah,
doing.
because the person has been dead for about 2-3 weeks, and
Oh
it
my.
was summer. So,
Oh
two,
God.
yeah. And I went, what? And he
Oh,
went,
that poor soul.
then he explained it, and I went more quiet, and he's like, do you not work with the funeral home? I'm like, what were the outside hours messages?
Oh my God. That's
He
horrible.
profusely apologized. That police officer felt so bad. It took me a few months to be able to tell that story as funny as it is now. But honestly, he became as quiet as I was. Like, I literally went, and then he was,
Yeah.
I'll pass the message. Yeah.
How did you feel stepping away from work? Was it a relief or did that add to your anxiety?
No, it was stress because like you don't work, so less money coming in. Um, you also kind of feel like a failure, like you can't keep working when others are. So there's that whole,
Beating yourself up, pretty
yeah,
much.
and
Circle. Yeah.
feeling guilty for needing the time off. Um, and then I left that work because it was very draining and it just wasn't a good fit.
Yeah.
And then I opened a home daycare, which was great because I love the kids, but the parents were something
Yeah.
else. And the parents basically drove me to a burnout.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That time being off work was a relief.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Just because I couldn't take it anymore.
Mhm.
Whilst you were off work, was there any support mechanism in place for you, or did you find yourself, to your own devices?
I applied for disability,
Okay.
and it took a while, but like it took a whole year for me to be able to get accepted.
A
Wow.
year.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the process, it's if you want, we can do a whole episode about that because that's a really long.
Yeah,
It's
Canadian
it's
services.
it's a very complicated. Basically, my family doctor saw me and she offered to put me on disability and to file the paperwork 2 years before I actually went up to her and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Okay.
Because to me that was like complete abandonment. Like I just gave up. But at that point, I really couldn't do it anymore. And she was an amazing doctor. She's the one that got me all the referrals for the mental health when she realized that she wasn't equipped with helping me.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
she realized she did referrals for other things as well that I needed checked out because she knew she could only go so far as a, you know,
Yeah,
general
just a
doctor.
regular. Yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't go into certain things because she just didn't know it was out of her hands. And so she was like, I'll refer you because I can't help more than do this. I miss that family doctor because honestly, she was great. She actually listened.
Oh yeah,
And
and in Canada now, like it's impossible. You need a referral for everything. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to bring your own files. Like it's completely so when you're already depressed, you're already panicking, then you have to do your own legwork. It makes everything so it's amazing to have a doctor that was
yeah,
gonna help you with that. That must have been at
oh
least
yeah,
comfort. Yeah.
oh yeah. And the way she filled out the file, it was so detailed that she was like, "You're gonna get accepted. There's no problem." So after 3 months, I received the refusal. And they're like, if you disagree with it's a letter, and they say if you disagree with the judgment, uh, send us back. And there's like a letter, and they say, why do you disagree with this? And you have to like write in 1 page. So, and they send you back your file. So you send it back with your new answer of why you think that you should have been accepted. 3 months later, you get another refusal, and then after that, they say if you disagree again, then you have to go in front of a panel of
Yeah.
2 to 5 people who will judge you on if you get to be in like the percentages that they need for you to be in disability, basically. Um,
Unbelievable.
which is nerve wracking.
Of course.
Because you're
You have
like,
to what prove that you're crazy? Like
yeah.
like I mean,
Plus, people like me, like we tend to mask in front of people we don't know.
Yep.
So like, how do you not mask? It was hard to like be able to just not mask to prove that I was actually as bad as I try to hide to the world, basically.
of course.
But after that, I was accepted into it, which made life a little bit easier. But um, yeah.
When you're speaking, I'm actually just picking out words, and I'm sorry to go back, but you said about this relationship with your doctor and how you missed that. Do you find yourself, because of how you are, having a deep connection with people that you figure out is difficult to let go of?
Yes, but the family doctor, I moved out of the same part that I was. She was posted across Canada. It's kind of it's I haven't had many like family doctors or psychiatrists that have listened to me. So it's hard when you have it's more like if I had another doctor that would actually listen to me, then I would be fine with that. It's just after her, I haven't so far. Well, I don't have a family doctor anymore, but the one that I had after her was just she did not care. Like I would go in her office and I would ask for a referral, and she'd be like, "Well, I can't do this because it's in a different city." And I was like, "Yes, I am moving there. It takes over a year to get on like the wait list."
Hey,
So,
you're being proactive. You're trying to like
but it was not. It's like swimming at opposite of the stream, like, and you have huge waves because the doctor won't listen, and it's so I do miss that doctor or any other doctors that actually listen to their patients when they go, I can't do this. Like literally my family doctor for 2 years tried to tell me to go on disability. She was like, you need to go on disability. You need to think about it. You need to look into it. You need to not think that it's a complete failure of, being you. And
Right.
it still feels, even when I got the acceptance letter, um, which it's retroactive, so at least you're able to pay all the bills or money that you borrowed off because
That's
you
good.
get it's proactive from the day you applied. So for me,
Okay.
it went back a year. So I was literally able to reimburse almost everyone that I borrowed money from and like any debts I had because I was able to get that. But it wasn't much. It's never much every month. But I make it work.
Yeah,
Um, but I forgot what I was saying.
That's okay.
that's okay.
Was there a day of realization after your diagnosis where you found a little bit of respite just in yourself?
Oh, respite. Okay. So being diagnosed, it goes like this. How do I explain it? Okay. So would you rather have a video games example or water example?
Well, we should tell everyone also on your many, many long, long resume, you could be considered a professional diver. You have, so that's another thing that you do. Yeah, you're quite the swimmer, let's put it that way. So we can take the water reference if you like. Let's do a water reference.
Okay. So you know how dams work, right? They hold in the water.
Of course.
So imagine you have a dam that has a few holes, so you got water coming out. It's strong coming at you, but you can stand in front of it. When you get the diagnosis, it goes like this. And you go, and what you thought you knew about yourself is amplified. Your brain is like, oh, now you know? Unclicked. And it's like you're literally taking the whole dam just broke. And you're taking everything that you didn't even know was happening in you, in your mind, and everything. And the doctor's like, I'm going to write this down so you can Google it at home later because you're not going to remember this in 5 minutes. And
No.
literally, by the time I closed the door in his office, I was like, wait, what did he say I was? And it just, my whole body went into sensory overload the second he diagnosed me and he says, here is what you are or what you have. And I was like, what the hell? What is this explosion? Why do I feel every nerve in my hands? Why am I boiling and cold at the same time? Why do I want to slap this person? Why do I want to run into a wall? Why is this person yelling at me when they're basically just talking? It's just everything is just unleashed. And it's like you've lost control over everything. That's being diagnosed. But other than that, afterwards it's fun.
Are you able to like read things about your diagnosis and pinpoint times in your life where you're like, oh, that makes sense? Like that
Oh yeah.
oh, that's good. That must be some good clarity, like a little bit,
Yeah, you
explain
read stuff and you're
why.
like, oh, that explains that. Oh, well, that makes sense. Also, it wasn't really just me being in, whatever I was being called. I was like, okay. Oh, well, that explains it. And you're like, okay. Good to know.
What was your next step then? To do something like, I don't know, cognitive or dialectical therapy?
Well, first of all, is you get on wait lists and then you wait a couple of years
Ah, that's nice.
and then you take whatever they will let you sign up for. I've tried individual therapies, I've tried group therapies,
What did you
I've
find?
tried
What
trauma.
what what did you find best before you go any further?
Uh,
Individual or group?
what worked for me best is DBT. It's dialectical behavioral therapy. Um, it's it was intense. It's very hard. Like it's every week. It was in a group thing. We were on Zoom because it was after COVID and it was just easier.
Yeah.
The doctor realized that she didn't have to go from room to room. She could just stay at home and just do them back to back. For us too, it was easier because the going to the hospital to go to
Fair
the
enough.
room just to sit in a room with strangers,
Yeah.
Zoom was hard enough. But it was
Yeah.
one of the things that we had to do was always be on Zoom camera. Unless there was like an emergency or something, but then we would like tell the doctor, email or text or something. But we had homework every week. It was really things that are like not easy to do, but it's like once it clicks in your brain, it just really helps.
In what
Are you
respect?
still doing that now, or are you still
Oh my
part
god,
of
it's something so because there's no cure, because it's not like a sickness, like mental illness, people think, because it says illness, it's a cure. Unfortunately, mental illness is usually how the brain is formed during your growth. And because it's your brain formed that way, there's no cure. So any therapies that you do, like DBT or like personal therapies and tips, tricks, any tools you get, it's things that you're going to work on every single day. So, for example, one of the funny things that you learn in DBT is, uh, hang on, distress tolerance. Okay. So distress tolerance, you'd think it'd be completely logical, but you got to remember that people like me who have BPD, we have an inability to manage our emotions and impulse control. So distress tolerance, as stupid as it sounds, is a huge chapter in DBT, but it gave me so many tricks to figure out tools that would work for me. The way that it's explained, it's I'm gonna get my notes out just so I can like
That's fine. That's fine.
tell you
Yeah, good.
exactly, because it's something that is really so DBT in general. It teaches you distress tolerance, but it also teaches you other skills like understanding and validating your own emotions and your behaviors, your impulses, and things like that. It teaches you how to understand your emotions and your behaviors, the control over your behaviors and things like that, all the impulse controls. It teaches you why you have all these emotions and how they exist and why they're there. And it teaches you how to set back and look at your emotions. Like if you have too much of them, one of the things you can do is stop and step back to just look at a situation. Um, so the distress tolerances, there's a bunch of them. So the first one we usually use is distract, because that's easy enough to do. Watch something on your phone, a game on your phone, a movie, music, just distract yourself out of there. Self-soothe is very good, and self-soothe in itself. So you've got vision, hearing, touch, smell, taste, touch, and rocking. So, for example, vision could be when I used to work and I didn't know I did this. I realized afterwards. I would put pictures of my friends and my friends' kids or my animals on my desk at work because it gave me calm. That's self-soothing by vision. Okay. Hearing would be music. I have certain songs that if I am being triggered by something, they calm me right down.
Oh, that's
Or one
great.
of them distracts me completely. I don't know. There's this song. It's weird. I don't know why this song, but it just touches certain notes and it just distracts me. Like I can't. If it's on, I'm just listening to it. Like I can't.
That's great.
It takes me out. Touch is what I'm using right now, and what I've
I
been
have
using through
That's what I have here. Yeah. Yeah.
every single time that we've been talking. I've been fidgeting, so
Yeah.
I know how to do that. Smell, I usually put this perfume that I really like, or lotion, or essential oils on my wrist, or things like that. That usually helps. Like if I have these like bracelets that I put on that you can put some essential oils on it that will keep for the night. So it's easy, like you pass your hand through your hair and you sniff your bracelet on the way.
Yeah. Sure.
So they're
It's
all
things
quite
like that.
simple things, but effective.
Yeah. Taste, for example, this isn't water. This is iced tea.
I thought you were going to say whiskey. Okay. Yeah.
It would work also, but in a different way.
Probably.
Um, and then rocking, because it's one of the things that's really easy to do. Rocking chairs, swings, things like that. I love a good swing. If there's a park, there's swings, and there's no kids around, I will be on that swing. Thank you
Good for
very
you.
much. And then another thing with distress tolerance is improve the moment. So you can imagine. I like to imagine like the next vacation I'm gonna take, or the next road trip, or something like that. Something that takes me out of the moment that I'm stuck in, that is triggering me.
Mhm.
Relaxation breathing, which is, I find, the thing that works the least with me.
Yeah.
Likewise, yeah. I think
Um,
too much for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
because for me myself, concentrating on my breath, I could still hear the other person triggering me.
Yeah.
And as much as a deep breath I can take, if my ears aren't listening to something else, I'm stuck in there. What I do if I have something like that I need, like a really quick something, but I don't have my touch things, or I'm not at my house or anything, go wash your hands in cold water.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Cold water.
Yeah.
If you can, splash it on your face as well. But if you can't
Yeah.
splash it on your face, just run your hands through cold water and try this. Next time you're like angry or upset, go put your hands for like 30 seconds under running cold water, and you'll see it will just, I don't know why, it just appeases you. It's
These are great. They're great tips. They
Really
apply
good.
for, because I have acute anxiety and I find a lot of what you're saying applies. Those are things that I've learned to do too. These are great tips. I want to just say now we're going to put these tips also in the comments because it's really good
Agreed.
therapeutic. So yeah, thank you.
How can you say, has your diagnosis affected your personal relationships?
I didn't tell anyone for a really long time. Um, I didn't tell people until I think Amanda, how long ago did I start? Like three,
Not that long
4
ago.
years,
Not
maybe.
that long ago. No.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
since I started doing the therapy. I think after the DBT. Actually, I think it started with the DBT, because I think that's when I made the mental illness blog, and like the Instagram and everything about it. It's right when I was about to be accepted into DBT. I started posting about it because I thought, hey, I'm finally getting somewhere. Like, I'm finally getting help. Like, I didn't know what was going to come out of it.
Mhm.
From the videos that I saw, that people that did it, they were like, it's really hard. It's intense. You're going to probably hate most of it. But at the end, you're going to be like, oh my hell, what? Hot, what? And it, it's crazy. It literally, I've had friends tell me that it changed. Like, they seen me through thick and thin, and like those people are like, you've literally changed. It's
It's
and
great.
I don't see it. Like, I mean, I know certain things because I know there's moments where I don't react like I used to.
Mhm.
But like on the day to day, to me, because I changed so gradually doing the work, I don't see it as much. And like when my friends were like, "Oh, do you remember how you would have like reacted 5 years ago?" And I'm like, "No," and they're like, "This is how. Look at how much like different it is now." And I'm like, "Oh, that's true."
Yeah, for sure. I see it personally, obviously. That's why I wanted you to share your story because I see tremendous growth and yeah, I see that the people close to you for sure can see it too. Like that's not surprising to me. Yeah.
Have you managed to move forward though with an actual personal relationship in terms of um, living with somebody, having a full-time relationship, or have you struggled?
I've struggled. So I've given up because I do the same pattern over and over. Because with borderline personality disorder, you have a great fear of abandonment. And with dating apps, you have a lot of ghosting and being stood up and things like that. When someone comes with love bombing, walking red flag, but you've been craving this because you've been missing the human touch. And I don't think I made the good choices when I lack human touch.
Okay.
Honestly, for me, it's hugs. Like, it's not even like sexual or anything, which is extremely annoying because when I go on apps and I'm like, I just want to find someone to watch a movie and cuddle with, it's like they always want to go more. And I'm like, I don't want more. I just literally want to be in your arms watching a movie. I do not want you to make a move. No, thank you. I just want to watch this freaking movie with you as my human pillow. And yeah, it's so I've just it's a lot of them
Complicated.
say yes, but it's not what they mean. And because with borderline personality disorder, I know I'm prone to taking risks I shouldn't, and I have before, and I don't really want to anymore. Um, it sucks, but I would rather stay in my isolation just because putting myself through the abandonment of being ghosted or stood up for putting effort into something. Um, like I already don't have much self-esteem like most people with, you know, BPD. So after a while dating apps, you get like if you don't have a really really strong self-esteem, you get hit down a lot. And then when someone love bombing comes and you you take it because that's all you're craving and they're saying all the right things, but they're usually really really toxic.
Understandable.
What have you taken away from all of this? And lastly, what advice would you give to anybody else that's in your position?
Advice is be your own advocate, fight for yourself. It only
I
takes
love
one
that.
doctor, one psychiatrist to listen. uh it it's stupid, but like completely different subject. But for example, I had like a knee injury for 13 years because I had 9 doctors who wouldn't listen. And then my family doctor, who knew she couldn't help, referred me to a sports doctor who give himself like the task to figure out what happened, because
Yep.
he was like, no one's figured it out and we're going to figure it out. And he did. um, and my life is more improved by it. Same with BPD. I was diagnosed by a psychiatrist who did all the referrals for me to be able to be with the DBT therapy. Um, DBT, it only works if you really are ready for it. They always say, you know, like you can't push someone to go get help. Um, it is true. Like I've seen it. We had people in the group that we saw, they didn't put the work into that you have to.
Mhm.
It's not easy. Like it's not something you can go tomorrow and be like, oh, let's do it. You know, it's like you're learning about yourself, and you have to open up to strangers about it every single week. Um,
Of course.
but it really really helps. But if you don't fight for yourself, because we're adults, no one else is gonna.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the most part that sucks, is like when you have children, you know, like you can fight for them until they're old enough to fight for themselves. But
Yeah.
when you're the adult, if you don't fight for yourself, unfortunately no one's going to listen. um,
Well, we're
it's
so grateful that you keep fighting for yourself because that's a great message. I mean, look at you. You've come so far. I know you don't see it necessarily, but you have, and you have a great outlook. You're always trying to help other people, not just yourself. You're always there for other people, and you're always smiling, and you're always trying to find the positive, and it shows. And you should be really proud of yourself for fighting for yourself. A lot of people aren't able to do that, sadly. So,
Thank you for your time, Lisa. It's been a really great interview. Really appreciate it. I hope your message
Thanks,
gets
Josh.
out. Thank you.